On today's episode, we're sitting down with Mark Vitelli, president of the Durham chapter of the Widow's Sons.
You're listening to The First Three Knocks, a Masonic podcast in the District of York, where we discuss topics for the betterment of Masonry. The opinions discussed in this podcast are those of the individual and do not represent the views of Grand Lodge or any other Masonic body. Now, here are your hosts.
Well, I'm Worshipful Brother Bert Tellier from the Rising Sun, your co-host, sitting down with Brother Gino Scovio, and we have a very special guest here today. We have Brother Mark Vitelli, president of the Durham chapter of the Widow's Sons, and also a member of Temple Lodge, number 649, in Oshawa, where you are the junior deacon.
That's right.
Welcome, Mark.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us on the show, and we're pretty excited to have you on to talk about, well, one, your Masonic experience, but more importantly, your experience leading the Widow's Sons organization. Very interesting.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here and like to shed some light on it.
Yeah, it's a good one. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Freemasonry, just to kick it off.
Freemasonry, it was one of those things. I was honestly, it's a lot of younger people. I was a little on the older side, hitting around just before I was hit 40. But you read a lot of stuff. You wonder, you see, conspiracy. What is this all about? I never really got into it. I was a member of the Rotary Club in Oshawa at the time, and one of the members had stood up and introduced a guest that he brought for lunch. That he said, "Oh, he's going to initiate it into my lodge," and I'm like, "Lodge?
What's that?
What's that?" It's like the Moose Lodge, the
Stonecutters.
Stonecutters, something like that. So, and he was a friend of mine. So I said, "Hey, what's going on with this?" He goes, "Oh, it's the Masonic Lodge." And myself and Jerry, who was also in the Rotary Club, said, "Yeah, we're all members there." And I said, "Oh, I'd like to be interested." So we went out for a veal sandwich, a little bit later, and we discussed it. And I said, "Oh, I'd really like to know more." Basically, and no one in my family has ever been involved in Masonry.
Zero insight
whatsoever.
Finally, I found someone else just like myself.
Yeah. No introductions, anything else, and I just listened to him. Went to breakfast with the guys, the officers at the time. I was like, okay, asked the odd question. Then I was like, yeah, I'm looking for something. Rotary Club was great, but it's a service club, and it was pretty out there, and much like many service clubs, much like many fraternal organizations, a very small group of people do all the work.
Right.
As all your listeners understand.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was getting a little tiring, and it was a little bit of an old boys club, which once again, here we go. I walked in there.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's right up your alley.
So, but I was the young buck there, and just you'd come up with ideas that would just get shuffled off to the side, and I'm just like, I'm just looking for something. Not that I was disgruntled, because I still stayed there for a couple extra years, but I had to make a choice. And after I did step into Masonry, it was like, wow, this is much more my style.
Yeah.
So that's in a nutshell how I got my foot in the door.
Okay.
But it was about 10 years ago now.
Okay. So you've been involved for a while. You've had a chance to see quite a bit in Freemasonry.
I did. I didn't step away, but I backed away. I got in, and like a lot of young guys or new entered apprentices, they jump in full bore and they want to do everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Just a recipe for burnout.
Yeah. They're sprinting down that line.
Yeah.
It's a marathon.
And
right?
I did. I jumped in there. I bought a tux before I even had my third degree.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going here. And then I realized, there's a lineup for the chairs, because we have a pretty healthy lodge.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
And I'm like, all right. And then, I had my own business at the time that was not doing well, and like life got in the way. So I started missing the odd meeting, got behind in my dues a little bit, but I was still, there was still something drawing me, pulling me back. So I could have easily been that statistic.
Right.
But I didn't, when push came to shove, and I was at the bottom rungs of everything in my life. girlfriend at the time, I'd lost, marriage was ended, I had kids, business failed, everything was down.
wow.
And she was like, you need to get back into masonry. You talked about how good this was and the camaraderie. And I made a call to a very worshipful brother, Derek Osborne, good friend when I first joined up, and he just, boom, listened. And
Really?
next thing I know, I've been there ever since. I came back full force. I showed up to practices. I helped out in the school just to get back into it. Got caught up on all my dues, and then I got asked by the incoming worshipful master if I wanted to start the chairs, and I said,
Oh, awesome.
yeah, I do. I would really like to do that. So
Excellent. Well, that's a
Yeah.
great story. That's good to hear that.
That's one
you
of the
came
first
back. Yeah.
guests that we've had on the show that, again, has talked about a little bit of doing that step back.
yeah,
But again, not giving up entirely and having it be kind of in the back of your mind. And then,
yeah, it was always it was
having
always
some-
something about it. And then when I came back in, I paid attention to the degrees, which is something when I've helped out at the School of Instruction that we have. That's the biggest thing. I said, listen to everything's a whirlwind.
yeah.
Now sit back.
Yeah.
Don't just. A lot of guys. I want to get that ring. I want to get a ring. I want to get the tattoo. I want to do whatever the case may be. That's not what it's about,
No.
guys. So, and for me at the beginning, that's like, oh yeah, that's, it was not the right thing to do. So I'm glad that I stuck it out, because now it's changed my life.
Well, timing is everything, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so I'm sure
Yeah.
in both of those incidences, you had a different experience.
Yeah.
In the same fraternity.
Yeah, and so
And
my
now-
girlfriend at the time is now my wife, and she's like, oh, I don't know how much of a great idea that was. So I was like,
Because you're
It's all
gone.
on
all
her.
the
it was
time,
a Monday night now, I'm here doing a podcast, and she's like,
Where did
that's
this
for
come
dinner.
from? Yeah. Remember when you said I should
Although,
get back?
right?
That's
she
right.
How many
encouraged
times
it.
can you use that one?
Yeah,
Mark?
and then
Is that-
yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I need you to, because I go full bore on the fundraising. I do, visiting. And she goes, I joined the York Rite. And she's okay, you need to, and she goes,
We need some
and
balance here.
you need a little bit of balance.
Oh,
And she
it's
goes,
that
and I
common,
realized it. And I
common
said, you
topic.
know what? Yeah, you're right. I'll slow down a little bit.
And did you?
I just started slowing down. So, I'm planning it. That's got to be a planned slowdown.
Oh,
So
you've
she
got
goes,
it on her calendar.
yeah,
slow
there's a
down.
calendar. She's very well organized. So it's 2020 is a slower season for me. So
Pick all the fun, important things, and then enjoy.
that's about it. Well,
family
yeah,
time as well,
she
right?
loves going to the gala. She loves all that social stuff. So
good.
we'll do all that stuff. So.
Oh, that's great. She's
I get
very
that.
supportive.
Oh,
I get
she
that
is.
kickback at home. I'm sure Bert does as well. I do a lot of traveling. I'm new into masonry, about 5 years now.
Yeah.
Sitting as a
At
senior
some
deacon,
point, you don't
getting
get
ready
to say
for
that
junior
anymore,
warden.
though, right?
You don't, right?
Bit of the rookie card. Huh? 5
Yeah,
years is a little
it's
long.
over.
5 years,
It's
yeah,
done.
it's,
But we do a lot. I love the district.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying meeting the brethren in the district, and it makes it more fulfilling and changes the whole
It's
experience when you get
100
out there.
100% one of the best parts of masonry
Yeah.
is just either visiting or going to other things, meeting other lodges, coming to something like this. It absolutely is one of the best things I've enjoyed of masonry. Joining the Widow's Sons was another one. But I mean, I've met fellow Masons from Scotland, Ireland, England, Mexico, just for being parts of different organizations or visiting when they're having it.
Yep.
So it's been one of those great things.
It really is pretty special, isn't it? Because you have a level of trust,
Yeah.
a bond
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can share, and that's unusual in
Yeah.
the world. Truly. Well, that's incredible. So, what do you think that what was that thing that kept you sort of in the back of your mind? I got to come back to this. What really,
I had
put your finger on that?
Yeah, well, it was part of that conversation I had with Brother Derek Osborne and the late worshipful brother Pete Crosby, who asked me to do the chairs. Just the fact that I went down some a darker path, let's just say. I wasn't a criminal or anything, but it didn't do things that were
It's
great.
some tough times. I get it.
And made some bad decisions, hurt some people close to me, and wasn't being a good guy. And when I reached out And that's the thing. You reach out, and they were there.
They come call. They come right
And
away.
they were there 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and a couple of years ago, one of my daughters was having a really tough time, and it was an emergency thing. And I was, pretty strapped for cash. Next thing I know, there's an email transfer from my chapter, and then another one from guys in the lodge that get up there and help her.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It gets me choked up thinking
Oh,
about
of
it
course.
right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that alone, you can't put that into words what that actually does to you. And you're, this big tough guy.
Yeah.
I'm wearing leathers. I ride a motorcycle. Got tattoos, and it's just like, it's what it's about.
Yeah.
And it's a brotherhood, and that's what it meant to me, and that's what keeps me going back every week. That's what keeps me answering the phone when a brother calls.
Yeah. Well, that's
awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That is truly what the brotherhood is.
Yeah.
That's a great story, Mark.
Yeah. So it's not all hidden treasures and fancy
It's not
schmancy
taking
stuff.
over the world or anything
Yeah.
like that we
Yeah.
discussed before.
I drive a
It's-
nicer
it's-
car if that was. Everybody says that. I don't have that ring. I put it in and get the free pop. Some of those things. So.
Well, that's a great story, and in your experience, I guess, what would you share with some of the new guys that are coming into the craft? I mean, you must have some in your lodge that are coming in.
We're actually initiating on our official visit in October, so we're initiating somebody. Basically, breathe, enjoy it, and ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just come in with wide-eyed and deer in the headlights thing, because you're going to be that way.
Yeah.
Take a breath, go to the schools of instruction, and ask questions. Don't just get guided around, and we don't want to be a degree factory.
Right.
Just pushing guys through. I want them to understand what the 3 degrees mean, because I was the guy. I was just, I'm going to get right through. I'm going to do all this. I want to join that. And that's one of those things that just pay attention, because there's a wealth of stuff in it. My wife and other people, oh, you guys just going to hang out with beer afterwards and this and that. That's the
time for
fellowship.
beer.
Yeah, there's fellowship for
Yeah.
that. That's great, and there is part of that. But the whole issue is, I've got brothers that you can read, and they're like, yeah, he's having a bit of an issue. Hey, you want to chat? Let's go for a coffee and talk, because men don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men don't do that, and that's what Masonry is supposed to do. That's the tool I use. I'll talk to you. You don't even have to be a Mason.
Yeah.
Know that I'm going to be there.
Awesome.
Well said. Well said.
Absolutely. Again, a great perspective from a different Mason out there that is really just sharing a lot of the things that we're trying to get out there to our listeners who aren't Masons.
Yeah.
To understand that it's not just a fraternity of brothers where we, like you said, do degree after degree.
Yeah.
It really is a whole layer of like family.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've I had tables at my wedding, of Masons, and the pictures and everything else. And I could have had almost a whole hall with friends I've made.
Yeah.
But apparently family has to show up too.
Did you?
But these are these are family. And it was funny too, because through this, I actually had a cousin who had no interest in it that just recently joined, and he's a steward
Very
now
cool.
at his lodge in Whitby. So, and he didn't come through me. He went through somebody else, but there's a guy.
Probably got some information from you. At
A little
least,
bit. He'd ask questions, this and that, and he was really concerned, because he's like, I'm not going to go to your lodge. I don't care
Yeah.
what lodge you go to, but you're my
That's
cousin,
your path.
and now we're brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that
That's
is cool.
That's nice. You mentioned a couple of times the School of Instruction. What is that in your area? What is, tell us a bit about it.
Okay, so I'm from the Ontario district. We got about 15 lodges out, from about Whitby out to Cobourg.
Okay.
Okay, and up to Port Perry. For my lodge, not every lodge seems to have them, but our lodge has a school of instruction. We hold it Monday nights, and basically when new initiated candidates or moving up to the degree, some of the senior members, Worshipful Brother Jeff Rowe does it at our lodge, and then it doesn't have to be from our lodge either. We'll
It's
accept
open.
it.
It's
Yeah,
open
we'll
to
we
the-
just
yeah.
it's open, and we've had other lodges come if they didn't have one, or they couldn't go to their school of instruction, so they show up. What do you want to work on? Well, I've just been initiated. I want to do my second degree. So we bring them around, do the steps, do the footwork, do the.
So it's a good mentoring program.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and it's when those things. That's when we ask your questions. Ask your questions.
Right.
What do you want to know?
The stuff you can't do in lodge.
No, stuff you can't do in lodge. So, and it's great. Cool. And then, so we do that throughout the Masonic year, Monday nights, and I think it's rarely that it's ever closed. Mm-hmm. It's just around a holiday or something, we'll shut it down. But
that's a great idea. We've heard something similar in other jurisdictions as well. Yeah, and it works.
It does work really well, and it also helps when our officers, we have our officer practices regularly. But then, if the officers show up there, we get to flex our muscles too and practice. And sometimes at the school of instruction, we take a different chair. So we're practicing too.
Awesome.
So
it's like your mini little step-up night.
Exactly, yeah.
Built for any role.
Pretty much, yeah. I've been sat there, goes, you're going to go do the junior warden? I said, I haven't got that down at all. I haven't even cracked that book. And
that's perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you're reading that. Oh,
you're the guy.
Okay. Yeah.
That's great. That's a wonderful story to share with us, and thanks for that insight. Tell us a little bit about the Widow's Sons. This is a pretty cool organization.
Okay, so the Widow's Sons is the Widow's Sons Masonic Riding Association. So we are not an MC. We are not a 1% club. If anybody has questions about that, 1% are what the police and that deem as criminal organization, and those are your HA and the other guys. I don't even want to mention them for various reasons. So we are a riding association made up of master masons. Okay. It was started in Florida in 1999. Came up to Canada just over 10 years ago. I think we just had our 10th anniversary maybe a year or two ago in Canada, or Ontario at least. But we have chapters all over the world. There's different factions of it. We have an international alliance, which one of my patches you'll see the different color. We have chapters in the Philippines, Scotland, Germany, Mexico, everywhere. They're all over the place. We have rallies all the time, but one of the things, the main focus originally for the Widow's Sons was to bring the joy of motorcycling to the Masonic community, and to make awareness of the Masonic community to the motorcycling community.
Right.
But it was originally that a bunch of Masons that just wanted to ride, and they want to ride together. And it's just like everything else. You want to do things with people that you share interests with. So to be a Widow's Son, you have to be a Master Mason, in good standing with your lodge, and ride a motorcycle 500 cc's or greater.
Very specific.
It has to be at least that, because we, for the highway, keeping up and group riding. And then each chapter has their own mix of bylaws that you want to adhere to, like how many rides you have to be on. We don't do a prospecting thing. We're not, because that's a very MC thing.
Right.
But we do usually say you got to show up to certain rides. You have to ride with us. You got to get sponsored, just like in lodge. And every year, every jurisdiction has a rally. Or a gathering, we call them. It's just one of the. It's a great offshoot. We did it's on YouTube. We did a little 2.5 minute intro bio for our chapter. Yeah. And it was one of those things that Masonry touts, being a better man, a better father, a better brother. And I've always stated that with the Widow's Sons have made me a better Mason.
Oh, interesting.
Because motorcycling community is all about brotherhood and sisterhood.
Yep.
And that's what Masonry is.
Yeah.
And it's more grassroots. So
how how do you mean more grassroots? Like what?
You literally it's the old term ride or die together kind of thing. There's an unspoken code amongst motorcyclists about, when you're riding, you see somebody pulled off the side, doesn't matter who it is, and they're on a bike, you stop and help.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't matter what patch you wear on your back. If you wear a patch at all, it doesn't matter what you ride. There is an unspoken code of brotherhood and sisterhood that you follow. That's just one example of it. With the Widow's Sons, what's great is our chapters are so full of, it's not a lodge specific. So, we've got guys in our lodge that are from Toronto East District. You know, every different lodge, we have almost got a member from every lodge in my district.
Huh.
So it expands on the the brotherhood aspect and visiting and everything else. So, you know, we've got 2 of our members are, you know, hitting the Chair of Solomon next year.
Okay.
So we want to make sure we get there for that.
And support them.
Yeah. And then we've got, I think we vested Most Worshipful Daniels years ago.
Huh.
Wow.
And we'd love to do that again if anyone's listening. But we've got past and current DDGMs that are in our ranks. Many other Grand Lodge officers, past masters, right down to, you know, newly minted Master Masons.
Right.
We've had guys that have said, and one member in ours right now that has said he got involved in Masonry specifically because he saw the Widow Sons.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So, and that's what a lot of people, you know, I want to be a Shriner. You got into Masonry to be a Shriner.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is a lot of guys don't show up to the Blue Lodge afterwards, and they just ours. You have to be part of your Blue. You got to be in good standing, and everybody I know that's in our chapters is very in depth in their Blue Lodge.
Oh, very
They're active members.
Very
also.
active members.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's pretty wonderful that
Now,
way.
when you say Master Mason, is it Master Mason or Proven Master Mason?
Just a Master Mason.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be proven.
All right.
Yeah, but they have to have their 3rd degree.
Perfect.
Is there like an application process then?
Yeah.
Is that
So
very
basically,
similar?
Just like to be one, ask one. You go talk to one. They'll have an application form. You fill it out. You give everything right down to your motorcycle, what type of motorcycle you ride. We have our meetings.
Send in pictures of your motorcycle.
Well, no, you have to do that.
Not
But
to that.
we have our meetings, and then you'll do the we'll read it out just like in Lodge. We read out the application. You have to have a couple sponsors, so it's met too.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the way it's set up, and we just want to make sure that we vet the right guys, because we have everybody's brought in the wrong people, right? In Blue Lodge, they just don't show up again.
Right.
In the motorcycle community, sometimes they cause problems.
Right.
Right. So we have to make sure that they're the right fit for what we do, because honestly, we are not an MC. If you're looking to be Sons of Anarchy, don't even.
It's not you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Huh.
So
Very
we're more apt to be wearing our tuxedos and our suits than the leather vest. Some of us are diehard, live the life of a live motorcycles or everything, and it's odd for them to put on a suit,
Right.
but they do, because they're 100%
It's part of the
Masons
club.
first.
Huh.
Yeah.
So how often do you guys get together? Like what's that look like?
Well, we usually in the riding season, we're supposed to do a ride a month, but the guys will get together on the chats, and they'll get together for all kinds of stuff. We just had a bunch of guys go up to a friend's trailer this weekend on a camp night out, like 6 or 7 of them. Almost every chapter has a particular charity that they want to ride to, so we're always out on the weekends. There's something.
it's kind of standard then.
Almost,
Yeah.
yeah. Everybody's getting to somebody's ride, and, or we're lending money or giving prizes, and then we see each other all the time. It's honestly, it's a tighter fit than most Blue Lodges, because they call each other, we talk to each other. Something's wrong with my bike. Oh, I need this. I need it. It's almost like a little car club.
Yeah.
In within Masonry, but we're Masons.
But you actually have 2 opportunities to connect through the Widow's Sons and
Blue Lodge. And a
That's
lot of the
pretty
time too
interesting.
is we've got our current master in my Blue Lodge is a member of the Widow's Sons.
Okay.
Next year's master is a member of the Widow's Sons, and another lodge he's going up. Another one's the senior warden. So it's
Impressive.
Yeah,
You get
it's
some-
and it is because of that camaraderie
Right.
that they seem to have, and then they see us. We are very open view. Your lodges are Blue Lodge is closed, right?
Yeah.
People like, oh, what's going on in there? It's the Grand Poobah and all the Water Buffalo Lodge stuff and all that crazy things.
Yeah.
We're out there.
Yeah.
You see us publicly. We're wearing our vests. They see the square and compass. We do charity rides. We host them. We show up at other people's charity rides, and we have no problem with it. This is who we are.
Right. Tell us a little bit about the charity aspect. Like, what is the charity that you guys are supporting?
We are an anti-bully. The charity we chose is anti-bullying.
Okay.
Specifically in elementary schools. So we recently have been raising funds for an organization. Well, not for them, but they facilitate it, called Kill It With Kindness. They're an anti-bullying awareness organization.
Okay.
And we put friendship benches into elementary schools. The friendship bench is a tool that is used to create community in the school. So if even as simple as a child that's brand new to the school, hasn't got any friends, some places call them buddy benches.
Okay.
This is just it's called the friendship bench, and they're encouraged to sit on the bench, and the other students are encouraged that if they see someone sitting there,
approach them.
go and approach them.
Oh, that is
sit
neat.
down, talk to them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them, kids don't talk. Kids won't
Too
say
shy,
or if they're scared, they're not going to go to the teacher that I'm being bullied. They're not going to do that. But if they sit there and someone else sees them, and we hope that students will become ambassadors, and it creates a sense of community within the schools. We've put in a couple already this year. We've got another one coming at some point this fall. And feedback we've gotten is they're great.
Is that right?
And the kids love them.
Yeah.
So it's one of the greatest things. And when we get to talk at the assemblies, we show up in our vests.
Awesome. I was gonna say you get to show up at school. And everything.
You get to show up at the school, and we get to
It's a
talk.
bit intimidating for the
It
kids
is pretty
to see.
funny. We've got a couple of videos up on our Facebook
Yeah.
page and stuff where you see it, and we talk to them, and they're just like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." And it's once you go there, and we've got members that they'll do it just because they think it, but until they show up to one of those school assemblies, then they get buy-in.
understand.
They get buy-in right away, saying,
Yeah.
"This is
what it's all
we're
about."
affecting somebody right here
Yeah.
in our community." And it's small level, right? We're not trying to raise tens of thousands of dollars like other things. We're all about those small things. Hey, we raised $400 today. Great. And we've raised money for Hearth House Cancer Support House. We've raised money for the DD Gems Project, Wounded Warriors out in Durham. And we've done whatever we can.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Our main charity is the Friendship Bench and anti-bullying.
That is a great
That's
idea.
awesome, yeah.
You said it is a small project, but a huge impact
Yeah.
on those kids.
Yeah, these benches change lives. We have a worshipful master in one of the other lodges who is a big supporter of us. He doesn't ride, too bad. Wish he did. But he supports us wholeheartedly because he had found out that one of his children was very badly bullied in school, and he knew nothing about it because they're so afraid.
Yeah.
So he showed up, and I remember him telling me he brought his son to the school to see the assembly, and the kid said, and he's an adult now,
Yeah.
as well, a Mason. My dad, he's joined
Awesome.
Masonry. He said, "Wow, if I'd had this when I was in school, it would have been so amazing."
Oh, wow.
So that alone, like little things like that,
Yeah.
just keep us going. And we've done, we do a ride every August called the Fellowship Ride.
Okay.
Usually based out of Durham, and check our Facebook page for those dates and stuff every year. Last February, we also held a Bruised Not Bruised event. Okay, this is kind of cool.
That's
it was,
great.
it was just So, and it was at a craft brewery, local craft brewery in Whitby, where we just we didn't sell tickets or anything like that. Just come in. We have some prizes to silent auction. We had a 50-50 raffle. We didn't even take a dollar off any of the beers. It was just literally there. We fronted some money to have another brother make some amazing barbecue, and we just gave it away.
Wow.
And we had, the cool thing is we did a silent auction for artwork, but it was tattoo artists.
Oh.
So any of the art that they did, we had it framed up and we put up there, and people would auction off that and the prizes, and we raised enough money for a bench.
Very
right.
cool.
And it was just a great afternoon. And come on, it's at a brewery. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to spend 6 hours in a brewery. I'm not having a hard time with that whatsoever. But there's those little things like that we do, and as mentioned, if I could be so bold,
Yeah.
October 19th, Worshipful Brother Sean Keane and Very Worshipful Brother Derek Osborne are hosting an event for us, and it's Rock the Bench Bonspiel. It's a co-ed bonspiel, curling at the Oshawa Curling Club. Check our Facebook page, widowsonsdurham.com for all the information. But get your ladies together and put up a team and come on out. You're gonna have lunch and prizes. It's an all day long thing.
So
October 19th.
The purpose of that one is to also raise
money for another bench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Very cool.
And as I said earlier, I did finally went curling for the first time ever last year. And if you've never been before, you have to go to this event because it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Have your A535 ready as well as some other things, because you will fall and ice is not forgiving. We have one other event
that's
that
Don Kemble.
Shout out.
we have another event that is happening just before this will air, and it was a brainchild that we had, which it just basically blew up really fast. We weren't really expecting to get it done, but on October 5th, we're hosting the Purple Bow Ride, which we agreed. We partnered up with Guardians of the Children Motorcycle Club and Templars Against Child Abuse. Now, they're not anything to do with Masonry. They just like the name, I guess.
Yeah.
But both of these are larger organizations that are motorcycle organizations, and the three of us have got together to raise funds for Daughter Project Canada's group home that they're building in Peterborough for victims, 11 to 17-year-old victims of human trafficking.
Wow.
And just the horror stories from some of these young ladies. They're girls. These are little girls that are being groomed by boyfriends, you want to call them, and sold. It's basically slavery. And when it's one of those things, once your eyes are open, you can't close them again.
Right. So
we just said, well, let's raise some money. Let's help out, and that's what it is. It's all these little projects that we want to do. But for us, a lot of it does come even from bullying. Bullying sometimes creates a self-esteem issue with young girls, and they get taken in by these predators.
Yeah.
So we had to have an aspect because we do want to keep true to what we raise money for.
Right.
So,
right.
But that's happening just before this airs. But we'll have other ones as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's a great call out to go to the Facebook page and see the events that are coming up in your organization. Maybe we'll take a few minutes to clear the secretary's desk.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, we only have a couple events to talk about. When you're done the Bonspiel out in Durham, that evening, October 19th, which is also a Saturday, Zeradeth is hosting a Scotch and cigar night. You can contact secretary@myzeradetha.com. I'm not going to spell that out this time.
We'd love to hear you spell that out, Gina.
So secretary@myzeradetha.com to get some tickets. You can enjoy single malt whiskeys by Scotch experts. They're going to have some vendors in attendance as well. Tickets are $50 a person. And again, it starts at 6:30. Scotch nosings will start around 7:30 with some cigar selections as well. And then on the 21st, special event that Zeradetha is hosting, it is the Roundup Ritual. That's going to be one of their regular meetings. It's the charity lecture in the first degree, and it's open to all Masons. I believe that evening kicks off, the meeting will kick off at 7:30, and I'm sure that there'll be a small banquet downstairs beforehand. And that will clear our secretary's desk.
All right, so last week we asked a trivia question for the first time, and we said we were going to give out a prize. The prize was a new hat from masongearshop.com, which they graciously gave to us to give away. So we thought we'd do a trivia question. This was on our last episode, the Order of the Eastern Star episode. A lot of people emailed us in. It was great to see the response. And actually, every single person that emailed in was correct. There was no wrong answer that came in, so that was It was a pretty easy question, especially if you're Canadian. If you're Canadian and you got it wrong, that would probably be a little bit embarrassing. But let's hear that question again from last week, and then we'll announce the winner.
This famous Freemason was born on January 12, 1930. As an adult, he was a professional Canadian ice hockey player and played as a defenseman for 24 seasons in the National Hockey League. He died following a single vehicle crash in 1974 at the age of 44. During his career, he played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, New York Rangers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and Buffalo Sabres. In 2017, this brother was named one of the 100 greatest NHL players in history. But beyond that, he is most known around Canada as being a successful businessman, being the co-founder of one of Canada's most popular fast food restaurant chains.
That's your question. Good luck.
All right, so there you have it. That was the question last week. And if you guessed Tim Horton, or Miles Gilbert Tim Horton, born January 12th, 1930, who was a brother, then you are correct. And the winner of the Mason Gear hat that was generously donated by masongearshop.com is Brother Ed S. Congratulations, Ed. You are the winner of the Mason Gear hat from masongearshop.com. And thank you for everyone who submitted their answers. Again, everyone was correct, but we said we would pick the first person who got their email off to us. So thank you again. Ed, congratulations. We'll send that right off to you. We'll send you a quick email, gather some more information, and you'll have your hat in no time. So again, thank you, congratulations, and for everyone else, this will be the first of hopefully many trivia giveaways that we're going to do, so stay tuned for further. And now back to Gino and Bert.
And we're back with Mark Vitelli, the president of the Durham Region or Durham chapter of the Widow's Sons. And one of the questions we wanted to ask you, Mark, is in Freemasonry, we've seen kind of a decline in some of our numbers. We were speaking to the Grand Master recently. That was an important topic. How is that affecting you guys in your organization? How are your numbers looking?
We're actually increasing
Great.
In our numbers, and we're hoping that we get more people interested in Masonry because we're more out there. That we're not as secretive. Oh, these guys are, what's that G mean? What's the square and compass? What is that all about? So our numbers have increased within ourselves. So we're hoping that'll translate to, a couple more people at a Blue Lodge or something like that. Because we really need, as Masonry, as a fraternity, we need to be strong.
Yeah.
We are strong within the Widow's Sons. We have 17, 18, I think, active chapters in Ontario alone.
Oh, wow.
Over 300 members. We just voted in another member the other night into our chapter, so we have about 25, 26 in our chapter alone in Durham.
It sounds like you have quality members.
We have really good members. We lose the odd one that it may not be for them. Most times it's because they've moved.
Huh.
And they might transfer to someone else, or we've lost one or two that have left Masonry altogether. But and we try our best to keep them on the fold. But it is still you're a man, freeborn, make your own decisions,
regardless.
But yeah, it's strong. We have a lot of people asking, how do I do this? How do I become one? Can I ride, a sport bike? Yeah. Is it the right size? I don't care. Oh, you have to have a Harley? No, I drive a Suzuki. So we don't care what you ride. We just want you to be present, and we want you to be charitable.
Right. Excellent. The other thing we wanted to touch on as well, I mean, it came through in our conversation, was this charitable aspect. I mean,
Right.
It's impressive the work that you guys do.
Yeah.
Maybe you could share with the audience just some of the principles of the Widow's Sons.
The number one is charity.
Yeah.
We want to ride. Okay, riding is the whole idea behind it was to spread the joy of motorcycling to the Masonic community. So you have to ride. If you don't ride or you don't have a motorcycle, you're not going to be a Widow's Son.
Right.
We don't. It's not something you could just join.
There's not a group of cars following behind.
No. But every chapter seems to get their own charitable. Ours is anti-bullying, but we have a great groups out in London that does Pitt Hopkins. We have a group in Peel that does the Ride for Breath for cystic fibrosis. The Toronto chapter has their own thing where they do for veterans and helping out burial costs,
right.
Wounded warriors, you name it, something, a Camp Trillium. Every chapter picks on something, or they'll just come and help the other chapters raise funds. We have, like I said, around 300 members in Ontario alone, and over the last 10 years or so, we've raised close to $400,000 for our local
That's
charities.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
And it just keeps growing.
Yeah.
And we're doing this at $2,000 a pop, $3,000 a pop.
Hey, every penny
Like
adds
you have the
up.
$500
event.
Yeah, we're not having these huge. We have a couple big guys that'll bring in 10, 12,000 or whatever. But honestly, that's what it's about. We want to be in the community. We go to local places and they know who we are. We're starting to get the name out there that these guys will help out.
Right.
So
The good
that's
guys.
what we want.
The good guys are on their way.
Yeah.
The heroes.
Yeah.
These are scary looking dudes in their leathers showing up, and then their big smiles on their face. Like, my riding name is Grumpy, and nobody's like, that's not right? No, it's not. But
You must have earned it somehow.
yeah, I think my kids called me Grumpy,
Your
and I
kids
had a
called you
Grumpy
Grumpy.
T-shirt. And okay, you're Grumpy. You're not Grumpy, but it's all good. I can be Grumpy. The guys have known. I've had to quell the fires in the chapter before, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's Grumpy.
That's
Earned it
where
today.
he earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is a fantastic overview. Thanks for sharing your story and your insights, and very much thrilled to learn more about the Widow Sons. Sounds like you have a very strong future ahead. And if people wanted to learn more, they could go to the Facebook page.
They go to our Facebook page, the Widow Sons Durham. They can check out www.widowsonsontario.com. And it's a great starting point where they'll have a contact or whatnot that you can get a hold of. And better yet, just ask somebody in your lodge.
Yeah.
Because there's a very good chance that there's one of us in your lodge.
Right.
If not, they know somebody, and or stop us.
Yeah.
We have no problem wearing our vests, so you'll see us around.
Yeah. Very visible. Thank you, Mark, for joining
Thank you
us
for
today.
having us.
coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The First Three Knocks. Happy to meet, sorry to part, happy to meet again.